I tried and failed at finding headache-free ways of making money. There's no headache-free way of making money. But once you embrace that making money is hard and that this is a hard climb and you can enjoy that journey, then it's very liberating. Hello, namaste, Zarna Garg here. So excited to have you at the Zarna Garg Family Podcast, and all 5 Gargs are in the house. We're recording this episode live. Please welcome my husband of 25 years, Shalabh Garg, finance professional. My daughter, who's finishing college soon this year or next year, Zoya Garg. My son, who's starting college this fall, Bridge Garg. And my middle schooler, Veer Garg. We are so excited to have you. And today's topic is hot, hot, hot. It is going to get a lot of hate, a lot of love, and a lot of extreme reaction, because we're going to talk about the one thing that affects every single human being alive on earth today: money. Money habits, money fears, money loves, money hopes, money ambitions, money aspirations, money fails, money victories. So without wasting any time, let's get right into it. And who wants to kickstart the conversation on money?
I mean, you already said I am the finance professional.
Yes.
So obviously, when it comes to money, I'm probably the only expert in this group.
Okay,
I feel like I'm quite of that expertise.
You have that expertise, Veer.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that? Explain that a little.
Like in terms of like how to not anything adult like, but in terms of comparison to my age, I feel like I'm of that expertise.
I understand. Okay, we'll get into it.
That makes sense.
But Shalabh, why don't you kickstart your topic on money? What are your money goals? What are your money fears? What are your money ambitions? Like, you've managed money for a living for 25 years almost. For other people, you worked at big banks, small banks, hedge funds. You've run your own hedge fund. You've done it all. So tell me what you've learned and tell me that what we should be looking forward to.
So, I mean, I guess what I have learned the most is that it's important to have investments that are invested in the growth of America.
Okay.
Right? Things that are passive, things that just sit there, things that either are income producing, and if not income producing, they're liquid. And the second thing I've learned is that it's really, really, really important to watch the fees.
The fees. Okay.
People and managers and hedge funds and everyone charges an incredibly large amount of fees in a way that they keep most of the upside. And in the case of a downside, the investor bears most of it because, to give you an example, let's say if somebody's managing $100 for you, and they made $10 on it for you, they will keep a portion of it as fees. And then the next year, if they lose that same $10, they've kept the fees for year one, and now
the loss
is yours to keep.
Yeah.
So on a 2-year period where they made 10 and lost 10, your capital actually went down by a couple of percent, right? So it's really, really important to have it passive. And Warren Buffett talks about it all the time, right? Just simply have it in something as simple as an S&P 500 or an index fund of some kind, and just leave it alone.
Okay.
I mean, that's as far as the investment part is concerned, but in not talking about investments, just the act of making it, I think that if I could share one thing that I've learned is patience. Just leave your career alone. Don't try to micromanage your career. And, in working for big corporations, I found consistently that someone who just stuck it out. In other words, there will always be people around you who will, work for a year, then work for 2 years somewhere else, and then work for 3 years elsewhere. And the persons that just hang out. I mean, I'll give you an example, a very specific example. This is when I graduated business school 25 years ago, or 20 to 21 years ago. And my college alma mater had a gathering, and there was this guy who was from my college. And I had this job at a bank. And at that time, jobs at banks were much more popular than jobs in tech. And this guy was like, oh, there's this new company starting on the West Coast. They're gonna make some kind of a search engine so people can navigate the internet more easily. And I was making fun of him and his wife because who did programming? Nobody did programming at the time. And guess what? He was 7th of that company and is now a CEO of one of those firms. So my point is that if you keep following the fad of the time and instead don't just stick it out, in a job. Right. Now, joining that same company today and expecting the same results 20 years from now is not going to get you anywhere. The reason that worked out for that person at the time is because he chose to go down a road nobody else was going.
Yeah.
He took risk.
He took a risk. So hence, take a risk, stick with it, and just don't try to micromanage.
Here, I have a question. When you say take a risk, do you mean take a risk when you're young or whatever age take a risk?
I don't think age is such a big factor in these matters. Okay, I will say that I would take naivete of youth over wisdom of age any day. So, right? So, what I have on you today, Bridge, or for Zoya, is wisdom, because I have 25 years ahead of you of having seen a lot of different things. But what you have over me, and I can never have, is the naivete of taking risk, right? Where you are willing to shoot before you ask questions. And I am only willing to analyze that situation in every possible way that it can go wrong. Many of those possible ways probably are right that it can go wrong in. But I would rather take that, what you have, over what I have, because that naivete also allows you to shoot for the stars, right? But if you're not going to shoot for the stars, then what is that naivete worth? Nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for everyone here. And this relates to money. Where does money like rank on your priority list?
Number one.
Okay.
Number one.
No, 2. Health is more important.
No.
How are you gonna spend your money if you're dead?
True.
No, how are you going to be healthy if you don't have money?
No,
That's
that's
just
not
not
really
true.
true. You can be healthy without money, but you cannot have money without health.
So how much should we be willing to sacrifice in order to make money?
Everything.
Everything besides your health.
This is easy. Let's go.
Okay, she's exaggerating.
She's not
She's not exaggerating
that.
her life.
But I
though.
don't think your mother
She's
is-
sacrificed.
I don't think your mother is wrong, especially in this great nation of ours, because the social structure that exists is non-existent, right? Even something as simple as a health insurance, which you take for granted. When you broke your nose, right, you took it for granted that a doctor will see you.
Yeah.
But that's not that everybody else can take for granted.
Yeah.
Right? Even that doctor refused to see you because it was out of the insurance plan until I wrote him a check.
Yeah.
Right? So these are things that in most of the countries people don't have to worry about. But in this great nation of ours, health insurance is directly linked to
Can
employment.
you just call it America? Why do you keep referring to it as the great nation of ours?
Because I'm trying to be
Okay.
sarcastic.
I also want to make a point about money because I'm 18 right now, so I just started making my own money, and I started making a little bit of money and working a couple of jobs just so I could have as much money as possible. I have never felt more free in my life than when I started making my own money. When I opened my first like private Amazon account, my own like private
has a
bank
private
account.
You have a
Amazon
private
account?
Amazon account?
Yes.
I thought it's just your bank account that's private that I opened for you.
Yeah,
No.
but that links to my Amazon account that's different than her
Which is
Amazon
not,
account.
you're not on my Amazon account?
No,
Why would you do that?
because I don't need your Amazon account anymore. I can just use my own Amazon
yeah,
account.
we-
All I need
him
is
and me can
Amazon.
share for our purchases.
Who is me and you? I can
Why
share.
would you do that? But I said I want to have one Amazon account in our family.
Yeah, and I have my own Amazon account. I mean, there's a couple things that I don't need you
Zoe,
paying
do
for
you
me
have your
for.
own Amazon account?
I do.
You
Oh,
do not.
The birds have really left the
Because
nest.
it just
Oh
gives
my
you,
God.
even if it doesn't mean anything, even if I don't purchase anything, it gives you such a great feeling of financial independence, which is what, especially at a young age, I'm working towards, what Didi's working towards. It's just such a like incredible feeling of making your own money. And honestly, from a mental health standpoint, I've never been more clear in my life than when I started making my own money. Like I start feeling really good about myself. When I hang out with my friends, I don't feel guilty for not have done anything because I know I have done stuff. I made a certain amount of money this week, which is
What
really
did you
good.
make money doing?
Right now, I'm a coach for a flag football league that I grew up playing in. So
And I
you
get
know,
to play in that league.
and
for
I
free.
get him to play for
He
a
got
league
him
free,
in for
which is
free, yeah.
actually really expensive. And his friends if they ever want to join, which is extremely expensive.
And he gets to do it for free.
He gets to do it for free.
Wow.
And this is a plus $1,000 like thing to join. And I also am a tutor, so which Didi put me onto. She was the original tutor, and then she helped me find a job as a tutor. And then I also, not as much recently, but I did work a lot for this real estate firm, or I've worked as an assistant to someone who was part of a real estate firm. And that was a really eye-opening experience for me that I want to continue over the summer. But yeah, right now, like
Okay, just so I know, why don't I have the password for your Amazon account? I'm not going to do anything with
but
it.
why do you need
why
it?
do you
Why
need
do
it?
you
Because I
need it?
should keep an eye on it.
Why?
As the mom,
Why?
I should have the password to your bank accounts and your Amazon accounts. That's just a
for what?
non-negotiable. I'm telling you right now.
What do you mean non-negotiable?
Because that's just not right. Anyway, but I do think that you making your own money has been. I can see the change in you.
Yeah.
Because you come home and you're like, I gotta get to this job. I gotta get to this
Yeah.
job. And you're extremely aware and responsible and like on top of it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Since you're making your own money, are you spending it any differently?
I don't spend it at all. I try my hardest to spend your money only. But when I feel like I'm making a guilty purchase, I'll spend my own money. Like if I were to buy like a piece of clothing that I don't really necessarily need, but I think it looks cool, I'll use my own money. Or if I'm buying like an overly expensive piece of food, like I got this steak recently. There was like a Wagyu, like really nice steak that I wanted to try. I spend my own money, but I rarely
But
spend my
I've
own
never
money.
said to you that you can't buy.
Because I just
Wagyu
know
or
that it's just
It's not
it's
about
not
that.
like right to spend your money on unnecessary things, right?
No, but
like when
I'm
it's necessary,
saying-
like a bowl of Chipotle, I'll spend your money.
But I'm
But-
saying that why don't we make it a necessary thing and then we just share all the passwords? That is
No,
the better. That's the better.
why are you trying to steal our
But-
bank account information? I don't get this.
Because then we all have open access to everything, and then you can spend my money. I'm not saying that.
I like the idea of having my own private bank account. It makes me feel like I'm my own adult now, and it's like time for me to worry about other things. You know,
How are you enjoying I know we created an investment account for you.
I love it. Oh my god! As a kid, you need to, like when you turn 18, or anyone within the age of honestly like 17 to 20, or actually 18, because I don't think you can invest before 18. But once you turn 18 and you get like to whatever 25, you should 100% just try investing. It's honestly like addictive. It's almost bad because you start looking at it so much from 9 to 5 o'clock every day. I'm like looking at my account. Oh my god, this went up, this went down. Then you see this new news report. Oh my god, Nvidia CEO just came up with this new product. Oh my god, wait, the people think it's terrible. And then it's like you keep going back and forth and up and down.
So just to be clear, that's exactly the opposite of what I said.
Yeah.
When I said earlier you should invest. I said do not do that.
I know, but
I said
it's
just
hard
put it-
not to because the upside is so fast and it's so large. Like you can gain so much money if you just make the right decisions, but you're not going to make the right decisions.
But the
That's
thing
the only
is that
issue.
it starts that way and then it settles. Right? He's
Yeah.
not going to have time for life to just keep checking all the time, hopefully. Hopefully, this is how it starts and then it settles at a place
Yeah.
that like you invest in a few things that you believe in
Yeah.
and let it run.
Like I just started putting my money into an index fund. For the first time, I put it in an index fund, which
And
is
I learned from him.
Good.
I learned from him and I'm going to put it in because we're going to share. I'm gonna
we're
put it
not
in-
sharing
in whatever fund.
Okay,
it just-
do you think genuinely, like, be completely honest, you and Dad should have like an intake or an input on like our finances?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Tell him yes.
I mean, like, you cannot bulldoze me.
Yes. Because if we fight, then they gravitate towards whatever you're saying and you become the weak link. Yes.
We're not always going to be around, right? Like, I
No,
know that
I'm going to be around. What are you talking about? See,
They
I
have
don't know
to.
what he's preparing his life for, but I'm going to be around forever. And yes, the answer is we should know exactly what you guys are doing because I bet you're going to make dumb mistakes that we can save you from.
Do you think those dumb mistakes are worth it though?
I think they are worth it.
It's experience.
Bridge,
I would rather you make
literally,
these young mistakes early on
You
in
know that he is going to be the weak
But
link.
he knows what he's talking about just as much as you do.
No, he does not. Just ask me. I will tell you.
Okay, why do you think it's worth it?
I mean, look, we made a lot of dumb mistakes, your mother and I, at a young age, right? At the same time, in terms of all the way ranging from real estate to jewelry to watches to
We
things
made
that
the
appreciate
stupidest
mistakes. But at the same time, those mistakes brought their own experiences. It brought us learning things. And okay, it's a mixed answer. At the same time, if we did not have any family in America that could have advised us, right? At least
Yeah.
I did not. She did have a sister, but I did not have anyone. It would have been nice to have a father or a adult who I could seek out answers from when I was in double minds about something.
Yeah.
So I would hope that you use both your mother and I for that sort of a role,
Like buying a house.
like buying a house or buying something, a major decision that's coming your way, or a job opportunity,
Yeah.
or a business opportunity you're considering, and let's say it's a crossroad and you don't know which of the two crossroads to take to bounce those ideas off. But ultimately, decision has to be yours, because ultimately, if you do fail at it or succeed at it, you have to feel ownership and joy of it.
Yeah.
Right? Your parents' job is done. You're 18.
What
You can
are you
vote.
talking about? No one's job is done. Don't listen to him. Talk to me. This is a parenting issue. This is not a money issue.
Okay, well, I feel like as an 18-year-old making my own money, I feel so much more of an adult than even when I turned 18, I wasn't making money. I didn't really feel like an adult until I actually started making my first dollar bills and looking at my bank account increasing.
Veer, I know you only made money last summer
Yeah.
the first time. How did you feel about it? And doing something very, neighborhoody where you actually...
Yeah. Well, it actually felt good. Like
In your business.
I'll explain it in a second. So I actually bought. The two most recent pair of shoes that I've gotten besides the Crocs were I both paid for them. One of them 75%, and one of them I paid fully by myself. And that was like a really cool experience for me because like I knew how it felt to buy something that hurt so much, but it also felt so good at the same time. But the business, so I had 2 different businesses. One was a lemonade stand, just average lemonade stand, whatever, and made money. Second was like a really complicated business. So I would go to Target and I would buy the 18 packs with all these different brands of chips, all different flavors, whatever. Oreos and Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is super cheap. So I sold it. It was like 250% profit margins. And then I would sell it and I would be making like $40 a week. So
I didn't know, but when was this?
And then didn't you employ your friends?
it worked for like 2 weeks, but then it ended up failing.
Because why? Because your friends were
Because
not
I was
as
being
driven.
too greedy.
You were being greedy, or were your friends not
How do you know
driven?
you were?
My friends weren't driven, and I wasn't being too greedy. I think it was their fault, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, money is complicated. I mean, you're in college. You see all these money
Okay,
habits
Zarna, let's
around
stop
you.
here. I want to ask you a question.
Yes, ask.
How does it feel to make money off your own
After
For
20
someone-
years of not.
after 20 years of not? I mean, that is the
That's the money.
$1 billion question.
I know it feels good, first of all. So take the good out of it. Who doesn't feel good making
I
money?
mean, a
There's-
little bit more elaborate than just
yeah. I'm saying take that out of it because good is assumed, right? Like who's sitting there thinking it's not feeling good to make money? The thing that has been the revelation in the last 2 years, I would say, is that I don't like just making money. I'm a businesswoman at my core, and I know how to run a business. I know how to take an idea and execute it better than almost anybody I know. I know how to play it like a game. I understand the mechanics of running a business. It's clear to me that I understand it better than many, many people playing the same game. And to me, that is exciting. So what I have said to the kids and what I even see you doing, which we do, together at different levels, is that I tell the kids that if you really want to play a sport, there's no sport like running a business.
Yeah.
That is the most real-time, real sport in America, in the world. You play making money like a business. And I can't. I never was an athlete. There were no sports in the school I went to growing up. Like there were no facilities. We were sharing rooms. Like you guys won't even understand. But in South Bombay, in the most elite part of Bombay, where I grew up, it was one tiny building that was converted to a school. So the morning was 3rd grade, the afternoon was 6th grade in the same room. So there were 3 rooms. So the whole of school had to operate in those 3 rooms. I never played a sport growing up. I never did any of that growing up. But to be in this competitive entrepreneurial space, I've actually like become manic. Like I know that I scare people sometimes.
You scare me.
Because but I enjoy it so much. It's like there is an aspect to being entrepreneur. The fact that I could take something as
So what advice would you have for not men, but the other women in your position, your age group?
my age group, I would say decide if you're running the business or you're not running the business. You're either doing a hobby or you're running a business. You cannot do both. And if you're running a business, you're running a business and you got to serve it like a business. You got to make decisions like a business person. And those decisions are not going to be easy. But I love making hard decisions. Hiring and firing is my favorite thing to do. And I even though I laugh at it now, I will tell you that even when I have let people go, I've let them go because I don't want them to waste their time and I don't want them to waste my time and resources. It's the more humane thing to do when the person is not a fit. And my advice, especially to a lot of women I know, will try to do a business with their friend and will try to find, make a weekend thing out of it. And even the side hustle, if your idea is to hustle to make money, you're going to have to run it like a real business. There's no easy way. Somebody once asked me, they said to me, they go, why of all things did you choose stand-up comedy? There's so many headaches in comedy. You have to travel, you have to write the material, you have to write this and that. But my answer to that is that I tried and failed at finding headache-free ways of making money. There's no headache-free way of making money. But once you embrace that making money is hard and that this is a hard climb and you can enjoy that journey, then it's very liberating. But I wanted to ask these kids, because now 2 of them are adults and they have friends with
Thank
different-
you. Thank you. This is the first time you've called your 2 kids adults.
Shalam, they don't have any rights in our house. We've been through this many, many times. They are adults in the eyes of the law. That's it. But you have friends who have their own money issues, money baggage. They make money, they lose money, the way they spend money. What have you observed about your life? And what have you observed from them? And what are you afraid of when it comes to money? Like recently, I had a conversation with Zoya that was so funny, because she now is newly using her credit card for her things. And she said, Mom, every time I make a payment, there's never a day when the credit card balance is zero.
Why is that?
Well, it's just so complicated to
Because it's never
understand
zero, Shalab.
the credit card balance. Because my dad and I decided I wanted to start building healthy credit. I've been using a debit card since I was probably 16 years old, because as Bridge said earlier, I was tutoring in high school a lot. That was how I made money. And then I was working a few summer jobs, just very minimum wage type jobs. And then when I went to college, I decided I was going to switch to a credit card, because if I'm just making these debit card payments all the time, may as well be building credit in the process. So we recently opened a credit card, and I have been so petrified using this credit card, because I'll swipe it, it works, great. I order Ubers on it, I buy my $6 coffee that's ridiculous on it, I get all my things on it, but there's no easy way for me to log onto the website and it says you have paid your balance. I have auto pay on, I have I check the date every month that I'm supposed to be paying it, but it never goes down just to zero, even though I've paid it already. And then I'm like, is my credit score decreasing? What's happening here?
I don't know why that is. We should talk about this later.
But Shalab, it's never zero.
It's never zero.
Why would it not
Because
be?
there are ongoing charges all the time, right? It's always your previous monthly statement paid.
Yeah.
But then by then you've accrued.
They make it complicated for a reason. They want you to not pay. They want you to not pay, essentially, and they want you to be confused. And that was definitely difficult. I think, I feel very stressed out about money. I feel very stressed out about it as a college student, for sure. I would say that, I'm on a student loan right now for my tuition. I feel very scared of that student loan. Obviously, my parents have my back and they've held my hand through the process. And, I feel like I'm in the most fortunate possible position you could be in as somebody taking a loan. So I don't want to minimize any of the experiences that many people suffer through who are in far more unfortunate circumstances. And all that being considered, I do have a loan out. It does stress me out every single day, especially with my credit card now. I can see my credit score being affected by the loan I've taken, which I don't fully understand. I'm sitting here, I'm actually way more quiet this episode. I'm very nostalgic of when I was Bridge and I first started making money, because when I was making money as an 18-year-old, I was just getting Venmos. It was do the job, you get a Venmo, done. And I miss those days. And now I feel like I have behemoths of financial decisions and complications that honestly weigh on me. I'm sitting here even talking about it oh my God, it's a lot. And I don't feel like I have a lot of control over it. Now, what I try and do in small increments. So for example, I have opened a Treasury Direct account with my dad where I've invested a certain amount of money into a bond, which for 12 years, I have no access to the money I made. This was
12
money.
months.
12 months. For 12 months, have no access to this money, but allegedly I'm supposed to make some some specific amount back because it's been given to the government for them to do what they please with, and they've made me a promise that they'll give me money back. I have my money in a Wealthfront account, which is an investment account similar to Bridge. Unlike Bridge, who is deciding those decisions, I don't have time to make those decisions. I'm having the account fully run my investment for me. Over the past year, I've seen a small return. Great. And then I would say the third thing that I do is, because I am paying my credit card bill, I'm really taking a lot of a look at what I'm spending my money on. I, for example, will spend money on hygienic things, nails, hair, things that feel non-negotiable and part of my brand I will do. I pay money on things that make me healthy. I pay money for a Sweet Green Pass that I share with one of my best friends. I highly recommend it. It's been great. But yeah, honestly, money overwhelms me. This topic overwhelms me, and I feel really, really stunted by it personally.
And how about you, Bridge?
What?
You are surrounded by friends who have money issues or jobs, and like, what are you learning about
Dude,
money?
the best part about having like friends with jobs is just laughing about like stupid stuff that happens with them. That's honestly, to me, making money and having fun with them about jobs is like equal in happiness for me. I find it so fun to just talk about like how you almost got fired or how like your job, something ridiculous happened at your job, or just like small things that is like you're going through it together. I think that is so fun. And I love having friends with jobs because you understand each other, because they'll be like, oh my God, I have to work. Like, I don't want to work. God damn it. I really don't want to do this. This sucks. Like, this is the worst thing ever. And it's just so fun to go through that experience with someone else. I think everyone should try and like, once you get old enough, or if you're already old enough, to like find friends who are also working jobs and just like talk about it with them. I love working with my friends too. I think it's so fun to work with their friends on projects. It becomes a little bit competitive at some points, but when it's not competitive or when it's like low stakes, it's really, really entertaining and fun.
Can I ask a question here? You guys both have friends who are extremely wealthy children of extremely wealthy families, right?
Mm-hmm.
That don't have to work for anything. And then they have access to lots of money. They can buy whatever they want. They can go to whatever event they want, vacations, this and that. Do you notice a difference in how they perceive themselves versus the kids who work for their money?
Totally.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
In what way?
Veer, you start. How come you have that? You don't have friends like that, do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what do you observe at your age?
Like a lot of my friends that are like that, like don't believe that they're like that.
Oh, you mean that?
Like they kind of deny it.
Right.
And a lot of my friends that,
That's
well, obviously none of my friends have to like work really hard yet because we're not doing anything serious, but like they just spend their money a lot differently, because some of them, like they try to find the cheap ways out while the other ones would buy like a more expensive version that is a lot better of something.
The friends that I have that are extremely rich, it's just so unrealistic to be like next to them. The things they talk about, the ways they approach situations, like Veer was talking about, it's just ridiculous to me. They will go to whatever restaurant, take an Uber every single time, even though I know you love your Ubers, but that's for a different situation because you need it for office space, which is actually really intelligent. But they're taking Ubers when they don't need to. They're going to the most fancy restaurants, having them with nice meals, having parties with like ridiculous venues. Like I've been to a venue with one of my friends' party who was extremely wealthy. When I go to parties for public students, it's like we would be lucky to find a garage that'll have us. But like when you go to a private school, it'll be like a 4-story venue with food catered on every single floor. And it's just completely different lifestyle. And the friends that you make that aren't wealthy are just so much more real. It's just so much more fun to be around them, because it's like they actually you understand each other on a real level. Then like that's just more, I don't know, it just feels so much more authentic. Like to
Yeah.
be around someone who can't take an Uber everywhere, who has to actually worry about like what food they're eating because they can't buy something that's super expensive. They can't go to like an expensive luxury clothing brand and buy like Supreme or whatever, Gucci, and get the nicest things, and would have to go to like somewhere, even not even Gap, because even Gap can get expensive. Somewhere, I know a lot of friends who go thrifting. I've been thrifting a bunch of
love
times with a bunch
thrifting.
of friends to get cheaper
like thrifting?
clothes.
Well, I've done it like 3 times maybe, but I definitely don't go with either, but whatever.
And it's just cooler experiences. It's more like lifelike.
Yeah, I think at college it's really interesting because you start living with people for the first time, so you see how people live 24/7 lives versus just like school lives, which is different. So you see like packages roll in, right? Like I have a lot of girlfriends who I don't order clothes. Like I'm not like my mom and I will buy 1 or 2 things for me, and I'll wear those 1 or 2 high quality items for the whole year. Like I'm a big outfit repeater. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I actually think it's great. But you see like people just like flash the credit card, be comfortable with it. I think it's really interesting though, because my attitudes toward money in college have been so complicated. I would say, for example, in college and in life in general, but specifically in college, time is money in a way that people don't really understand. So for example, like people will treat their degrees like with not that much seriousness, or will like spend a lot of time doing a lot of stupid things. Like all of that, like college experience stuff, is time that you could be spending doing it using it in a productive manner. So for example, like one thing that I think I suffer from is like I feel like I have to be hyper productive at all times if I'm not going to be working a full-time job as an 18-year-old plus, if that makes sense. So like for me, college feels like such a luxury. The idea that you get to pay, like you get to be at a school and just learn and not have to worry about like whatever, like that doesn't exist for me. And I know I'm not making a lot of sense right now, but like specifically, like I feel like every single action I take has to be hyper productive. I can't have any fun. I feel like if I do have fun, I feel a tremendous amount of guilt. I feel very optimistic. I'm not like hopeless and like depressed about my life circumstances because I can't like go to any parties or whatever. But anytime I take time to just do nothing, I feel horrible about myself. Like I just do. I'm over 18 years old of age. My parents at this point, like especially my mom, was literally like working jobs and like figuring out her life. Like I just don't feel like I have the luxury.
It's not a good one-to-one comparison. We
It's
were also
not.
immigrants.
It's not. But I think any child of immigrants understands this experience better than anyone. You're right that we don't have the same experience, but but hearing the stories, it's hard to not internalize them.
I spend my money when in my entire life I was always addicted to shopping for clothes for myself, and so I did spend a lot of money over the course of time buying very expensive clothes, and that includes everything, start top to bottom. And your mother and I were very different in that regard. She just wasn't that into, as she described earlier, she was much more into creating a business. She enjoyed different things. I really just enjoyed the act of shopping, of going to expensive stores and shopping. So I had accounts at pretty much, all the big ones, Italian designers and superstores and sneakers and everything, cosmetics.
But you always made your own money. I don't like buying all that stuff as much.
I mean, you're making your own money, but you don't do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
know.
I'm not a big shopper in the way that you are. Like you like going to the store and what's the latest color this season? Let me see if I can get a new vest. I don't like all that, but I do enjoy knowing that I can buy it.
Okay.
I enjoy knowing that I could
But
if
Zarna,
I
I
wanted
bought a
to.
watch 1 year out of business school in
Yeah.
Switzerland
Yeah.
from Patek or something from Patek. I mean, there was no reason
Patek
to have spent.
He has a Patek. Me and Didi were talking about this.
We were
yesterday.
just talking about
There was no reason to have spent that kind of money at that age into a Patek Philippe. But I used to live in Switzerland. I had visited that factory, and I was very impressed by it. And it was a goal that I want to buy it. And turns out I have worn it maybe 10 times my entire life, because all these better things came out, and now to watch time, nobody even uses a watch, right? So you have your phone all the time with you. But having said that, that's something I really enjoy.
But I think the fact that you made your own money makes a difference, is what I'm saying. Like with these kids, for example.
I mean, I'm happy to do it on your money now.
like for example, like one thing that I think about a lot is I mean, and I'm so grateful I got into Stanford, but a part of me really does wish I didn't feel the burden of knowing that going to Stanford means that I am on my parents' dime for these 4 years. In high school, I went to public school. That was the most free I've ever felt in my life. I felt exactly like I felt Bridge describes. Like oh my God, I'm almost getting emotional, but like I really felt like I had so much agency. And I don't feel that way being in an
Oh,
undergrad
that's interesting.
experience.
How come?
I feel like that degree is so important, and it's so, you have to work
Expensive.
so hard for it. It weighs on me a lot, actually.
So you, in hindsight, you would have rather gone to a cheaper.
I just wouldn't have wanted to live with the stress, like if it was about getting in, because for so long it's about like get into the school, and now it's like work the internship and work for the degree, and it's really exhausting.
Do we have a tissue, Amir? Do we have a tissue? No, shut up. You putting the stress on her.
How did I put the stress on her?
I'm sure, Zoya, it's him, right?
No, it's not him.
Yeah, it is him.
But it's like I'm so envious of like I remember really feeling like Bridge when I was in high school and just feeling like, oh my God, this is it. I've made it. But it's like you get into these systems and you have no idea what you're signing up for. And really what you're signing up for is like an experience where you're constantly at the mercy of something so big, so much bigger than you. And I find that experience really exhausting. Like I really, really miss the luxury and the freedom of public school a lot.
Yeah. It's almost over now.
No, I mean, it sounds silly because I am so grateful for it, but it's like, it's really hard to be in an experience where you feel like you have to take everything so seriously. And then you also see people not taking it so seriously. And then you feel like, what's wrong with me? Like, why don't I have that luxury? Like, why am I not just like having fun and like wasting time and all that stuff? But it's like, it's just so, I don't know. It feels like a really overcomplicated situation.
Bridge, knowing how she feels now, do you get worried? Because you're about to start college. And college, as we know, is expensive. It's not cheap. Even it may not be as expensive as 1-to-1, but overall, it's an expensive experience. Do you get worried about this?
No.
Okay.
But I just don't think I understand it. So, like, I think when I'm in her position, I'll probably feel similar to her. But right now, I just can't, like I can't imagine it as much as, I don't know. Like, when you were my age, do you feel like you imagine how you would feel now?
No.
But so do you understand that there are children your age all over America who don't have a clue what they're signing up for?
Yeah.
They just get pre-authorized for loan after loan, and they sign off on pieces of paper with like all kinds of egregious fees and interest rates and things. They have no awareness of part of why you are feeling the stress is because you know exactly what you're signing up for. You know what this means and the responsibility means. And like, not to get political at all, but that is why there is such a raging debate on whether student loans should be forgiven.
Yeah.
Because if adults are signing up for these loans, and many adults like us, you and me, spend decades of our life paying back our loans, it doesn't feel right. But yet, on the other hand, the kids who sign up for them have no clue what they're signing up for. And the colleges seem to have no incentive to run like a proper... The one thing...
I mean, that's another big scam, right? Like
it's the biggest scam of all
college
time.
education over 25 years has gone probably tenfold, where incomes
more.
have gone
Like,
maybe...
it's like to hear you describe like going from business school to buying a watch. Like, you just can't have that experience. It doesn't matter what school you go to now. Like, if you go to Columbia Business School today, even if you got the flashy finance job, you couldn't buy that watch. You just couldn't. And it's
She's
just
right.
like...
It is just, the things have gone 10 times, 20 times in tuition, whereas salaries post those degrees, while they've gone up a lot less compared to then.
Yeah.
So yes, there is education inflation. That's why, there was this big article, I think in The Economist or some other major respectful publication, about how so many American kids are refusing to go to college.
Yeah. Or definitely refusing the elite private colleges. Because both of you have friends. In fact, some of the smartest kids from both your schools refused to even apply to private colleges.
Yeah.
They were like, we're going to go to state schools. We don't want the loan. It wasn't even, will they get the loan? Will they get the grant? They're like, we don't want it. And we understand the stress around it. We really do. And it's changes your life. The fact that you have awareness of it is what is giving me hope that you will be able to control it and play it a different way. Because so many people have no idea what they're getting into. And especially even us as immigrants, we had like limited clue, right?
At that time, we had very limited.
We had no idea. We came...
I mean, the overall credit industry is truly corrupt.
It's so corrupt.
Truly corrupt.
Yeah.
They will lend you money in ways that will, and it'll all go on your credit score, as you correctly pointed out. And before you know it, it can go really bad very quickly. No question about it. She's right.
Yeah. But on a happy note, let's turn to something positive. What are some good money habits that we have that we can talk about? Can we share 2 money hacks with our audience that we can share about? And then you guys tell us your money hacks, because we are always looking to learn what you guys are doing to save money, to make money, to improve your relationship with money. Like, what are 2 things that we can talk about right now?
Okay,
Anything?
I'll go first.
No,
For
no,
me-
no. I'm
Hold on.
taking it. I'm
Okay,
taking
Veer
it.
wants to go first.
Okay, I only have one, but my one is to keep change, coins. Coins is such a life hack. In my school year, only my school year, I don't even spend like insane. I spend a lot of money. I don't spend insane amount of money like buying a house or whatever. But like, if I buy a bag of chips and a drink after school every day, I'll get like 70 cents of change. And out of these last 2 years, I have $300 saved of coins just from getting that change. I've counted all of it.
Wow.
Wow, you
That is
have?
incredible.
Really?
And it's easy to convert that into bills, by the way.
Exactly.
You
We just
take it
go
a
to the
bank.
machine and it just does it.
It does it for you. That
Yeah.
is true. It's smart.
Oh, okay. All right. Who wants to go?
For me, it's public transportation.
Okay.
And this is relevant to local New York. I get it. In other words, it's of no relevance in Ohio. I get it. But I can only speak of my
Yeah.
experience where I am. Public transportation is awesome. Subway in New York rocks. I mean, for $2.90, it takes you from point A to point Z all over the city. I know my son Bridge loves it too. Often we go together, and in the morning, we find each other at the platform often. And it's, it's very, I know it has its issues, but it's very, very definitive to get from point A to point B in a defined period of time. I know Zarna hates it for her own reasons, and we're not going to get into it. But for at least the two of us, it's a fantastic thing to have. And then the second thing I would say is that I've beaten the coffee places. I've found these pods that you can order to make your own. They're selling you $4, $5 coffees. I only have black coffee, a simple drip black coffee. To pay $4, $5, $6 and then $2 tip on top makes no sense. So, I have religiously been owning my own pods and gotten a simple machine that's not that expensive and make my own coffee, and it's been so liberating.
Okay.
Bridge.
Money hacks, Bridge,
I'm still
Zoya.
thinking.
Huh? You're still thinking?
Mine is just if you are an 18-year-old or older, just get in it. Like, just start learning. Like, I definitely feel like I was really afraid to open this credit card, for example. I have a friend who opened a credit card when she was 18. She has a very complicated relationship with her parents, and it was extremely important for her to be financially independent from a young age. And I feel like she has a much, much more, like, I'm just going to figure this out attitude toward it because she's just been learning, right? Like she just went to the bank physically and was like, I don't understand this, explain this to me. Or like went to call the customer service person. Can you help me open this card? I'm only 18 years old. I have no, there's no reason you should trust me yet. Like what can I open at this age, right? I would say that make a mess and figure it out because it's only going to get harder as you get older and it's only going to get more stressful as time goes on and you still don't understand it. I'm still learning it and I would be so ignorant to say that I figured it out. It's really overwhelming and I'm still, navigating all of that. But I think just the act of starting somewhere and just getting your hands dirty and like opening up an investment account and like playing and trying is really valuable. And I know a lot of adults that regret having not tried younger because eventually everybody has to.
Right. That's one. You want another one?
No, that's pretty.
Okay.
I do this.
My big money hack is just to be around people who also don't like spending money. If you're around people who are always going to be looking to go to have a nice dinner every single Friday, Saturday night, or go like after school, buy an expensive meal, or for lunch, get an expensive thing, or take expensive cars, or do whatever, you're going to end up being roped in with them and spending that same amount of money.
So true.
You're never going to be like, it's also just disrespectful to go to a dinner with your friends and not buy something, like to just sit there without eating, right? So if you're with people who are more like you and would rather go to like a fast food chain like Subway, for example, which I actually love Subway and I don't think it's that unhealthy, but place like Subway over like somewhere like Nobu or something that's a lot more expensive. Because I do know a lot of people actually that do go to eat Nobu. Like most people who eat Nobu go there once a year, if that. Like I know people who will go there multiple times a year, and that's just an expensive meal you don't need to have. You need to be around people who are cautious about money, who think about money whenever there's a money decision that comes up. That's the biggest thing I will say. Like there's people that I know that I'm friends with, including myself, that every single time there's an option to choose money, you'll think about it. It doesn't mean you're not going to spend that money, but it means you'll think about it if it's worth this money. Is there a better alternative than this? Is like, just everything surrounding it. And there's a lot of people who, instead of thinking about it, will just swipe the card and don't care because they know it's not their money. It's their parents' money usually. So they just don't care.
Right. It's true.
What's your hack?
And my big overall hack is how we've lived our life. I think it is very, very difficult in America, but also anywhere else in the world to constantly be assessing, can I afford this? Can I not afford this? Can I afford this? Can I not? Live below your means to the extent possible for all the fluff stuff. As immigrants, as Indians, we will extend ourselves to pay for education. We will extend ourselves to pay for good food. We will extend ourselves to have like a nice home. But there's so much fluff stuff that we just don't care about, and not prioritizing them and limiting them entirely or eliminating them has brought a modicum of relief to my head and how we live generally. we don't worry about whether or not we can afford a ski vacation because we're just not going to do it. We as a family decided very early that this is an expense we cannot afford. It relates to a priority we don't have in our life. So it's out. And you will be surprised. You would think, well, it's one ski trip, but vacations actually suck the money out of you. And there are a few things like that suck the money. Like we live in New York City. We've never, now we have a 21-year-old daughter. We've never paid for a Broadway show on our own. We've never done it.
Well,
We've-
when you say on our own, you make it sound somebody else did. We just
no,
have
like
not.
if somebody gifts us tickets, that's a different
But
thing.
nobody has. I don't.
Nobody has.
I've never.
I mean, we actually returned them once. Remember, somebody gifted us
yeah.
tickets when you had a corporate job, and we were like, no, we don't know how to enjoy this thing. You take the
We
tickets
don't know
back.
how to enjoy.
Yeah, we didn't want to go.
Just
We
sit
were like,
there.
we were very happy to receive it and give it back. We've never bought tickets for sporting games because those things also, believe it or not, add up. People talk about the $5 coffee. They won't spend on the coffee, but then will spend $500 on watching a football,
Okay, let's
basketball
not talk about
game.
the $5 coffee, please.
Okay, we will not agree on the $5 coffee or on the Uber. That's a whole another topic. But overall, and I wish that my kids learn this, that if you're crying because you're stressed out about the cost of your degree at Stanford, I think worse tears could have been shed. You know what I mean? This is one set of tears that I will happily take because take that degree seriously, put it to use and put it to good things. Right now, we could all be crying over spending $50,000 on a vacation to some place that we had no business going, had no reason to go. And I think we've made many, many money mistakes. My husband and I, we should do a whole episode on that. Mistakes we've made with money. But the one thing that we did right is that we collapsed all the complications and only spent money on the things that we as a couple believed were fundamental. We went out of our way to buy the nicest home that we could, and we use it every single day. Every vacation, every holiday, we use it. We use every inch of it because that is the thing that we invested in early on in our lives, and we stuck with it. And I think that as a guiding principle has always helped us. That's what I would say about money. But this has been our episode on money, and we're not even going to talk about right now. That's a whole separate episode, is how to make money. But we want to hear what you're doing. What's your relationship with money? Are you stressed out about it? Are you, are you hopeful? Are you optimistic? Are you fearful? Tell us everything. And as we end every episode with a round of good grades with Gargs, where each one of us Gargs gives an A grade to somebody else in this episode who brought the winning moment, who brought the joyful or the scary moment. We're now going to do good grades with Gargs. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My good grade, my A grade goes to Zarna in this one. I haven't given her A. I just realized for a while. But this one she does deserve for proving herself as a businesswoman. I think really she really has proved herself as a businesswoman, and to be able to enjoy creating businesses and running them, the ups, the downs, the sideways, the topsy-turvy nature of working for yourself. For that, my A grade goes to her.
I'm going to give my A grade to Veer because I think I love that Veer started a business when he was 12, like so young.
10.
10, right. Where he learned just the basic economics of how running a business works. Because I think as VCs and as startups and all these big companies, like there are so many things that get so overcomplicated that understanding the fundamentals well seems like it's out of style. But the way that he was able to clearly articulate the cost of his product at Target, the amount he was selling, and the profit margin at which he was able to achieve, I think understanding those fundamentals is amazing. And I think that teaches you more about money than anything else, pretty much.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give my A grade to Didi. I think that she really paved the path for me, especially recently because you're only 3 years older. So she really I was basically falling right behind you this entire path throughout high school. And when it comes to jobs and tutoring, just seeing how you made money in high school, motivated me to want to make money in high school. So I think as much as I want to give you an A grade, I'm rather give you a thank you for that.
Oh, that is so cute.
I'm still thinking.
Okay, I'll go. I will give this A grade in this episode to Bridge. even though I have a lot of empathy for Zoya and what she's going through. So I just wanted to know that. But this A grade goes to Bridge, and I'll tell you why. Because he combined the two things that I have been striving to combine when my whole 5 years of working is money and family. He got this football job. He makes money as a football coach, and he saw an opportunity that could benefit somebody else in the family that he didn't need to. But he's like, how else can I extract value and add value? So he goes a little earlier, he stays a little later because he now deals with Veer's group that is not the group he's responsible for. But for that consideration, his coach then said, okay, you can bring your brother to play in these games, which otherwise would have cost thousands of dollars. And the reason that warms my heart is because as an entrepreneur, I have done everything possible to involve my kids in my business. I believe that families that work together are stronger together. And I believe that the way his mind worked through this thought process, he added value to his coaches, he added value to the class, he brought more students in, he added value to his brother's life. All around, it's like a triple win in a way that only he imagined because we would not have figured it out. And for that, he deserves the A grade.
Okay, I'm giving my A grade to Baya too. Baya means brother in Hindi, as we went over. And I'm giving my A grade to him because he got me into a free football class and it's fun.
And this has been our episode on money with the Garg household, but we can't wait to hear your hacks, your tips, your solutions. And this has been so fun. We hope it's been fun for you. And we can't wait to see you again. Everybody say bye.
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 Bye.